Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. In a word, just freaking lovely. Let's talk. I'm laughing again, people. I'm laughing. Wednesday, April 13th, 2022, a nice rally on Wall Street with tech putting on the biggest gain here. Crude oil surging higher yet again, about $105 a barrel. You know the story here, people. We have the entire energy sector, oil and gas producers. Oh, they are doing very, very well, and they're going to continue to do so as the war continues, to be fueled. As a matter of fact, we found out today that President Bidenstein is sending nearly another $1 trillion over to Ukraine with promise of more to come. Yeah. How many of you are surprised about that? And if you don't support this, if you don't back it up, well, you're just dog shit. You must support the war. Lovely. And American people are funding this war along with, our European friends and a bunch of other people too. The propagation of war, people, priority number one for those who are trying to gain control, and they got the world by the you-know-whats right now. So just expect that mechanism, as you already knew, to continue. Every single crisis must be prolonged so they can fling more cash at it, and no other endeavor on the planet Earth generates more cash flow than war and the propagation of war. So just be ready for that. I'll tell you what scares me. It really does. You hear a lot of talk, even today, I think it was on CNBC, about the dollar possibly losing its reserve status. They have no idea, or people don't understand what this actually means. A world war. I'm losing my ability to talk. A global conflict would ensue if that were to happen. Again, the enforcement arm of the Federal Reserve is, in fact, the U.S. military, its entire arsenal, including its nuclear arsenal. They will point that weapon at anyone and anything that tries to get in the way of the U.S. dollar being the world reserve currency. This gives the Federal Reserve, all its power. It's the central bank of central banks in many ways here. By having the world reserve currency, it's an astonishing thing. And they will fight to the death. They will kill whoever they have to kill. Millions, tens of millions, to keep that mechanism going. The petrodollar, the fiat monetary system as a whole. And that does scare me to a certain degree, because we already understand that OPEC some OPEC nations are already circumventing the dollar. And, well, you would expect to see more war, a lot more, and a lot more people die on the back of that. All right, so look, on the back of this rally today on Wall Street, like I said, tech doing really well, crude surging higher, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, nice turnaround today. Bitcoin back over 41,000, gold and silver catching a bid here, 10-year yield, 2.7, looking okay, dollar reversed lower. Okay, that's another reason why you saw the market rally today. And we got a lot of warnings, more warnings from one of the public enemies out there, and that is Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, who continues to say that the U.S. economy is in trouble. Now, let's look at a couple of other things here. We found out today that, this is no surprise, and it's not funny. I'm not going to laugh. It's pathetic here. U.S. small business owners' sentiment is cratering. They're struggling to make ends meet, paying higher costs for everything, with no relief in sight here, and it's going to get a lot worse. As a matter of fact, that got backed up by UBS today, and this is laughable, okay, who is expecting 50,000 store closures here in the United States over the next 5 years. I'm here to tell you that that number is laughable. It will be 4 times higher than that at a minimum. So, I mean, you can see where we're going here. What's happening is, again, a wipeout of small businesses here in the United States being taken over by the corporate agenda. The corporate agenda is in full play here. They are going to crush anything in their pathway. I think you understand that. This is now the United States of corporate America being run by a fake government. You all know that. Hell bent on destroying people, honestly, and that's exactly what they are doing. And the pathway here is going to get much, much worse. So, I want to touch on something else that is getting absolutely no attention. Now, me and you, we both realize, and anyone can look this up for themselves, that one of the Federal Reserve's mandate, in fact, I think it's their top mandate, the Federal Reserve's number one mandate is to maintain price stability. Well, what we have here, obviously, after this morning's producer price index number absolutely out of control, surging inflation, no end in sight, and then you got these freaks being paraded out across the propaganda ministries trying to sell you another lie, and that is peak inflation. Oh yeah, inflation is peaking. I don't know how they can possibly conjure this up or how they can pay anyone enough to lie like that. Anyway, understanding you and I that price stability is a mandate of Congress on the Federal Reserve, and they have failed in this miserably. Obviously, we know they've done this on purpose, this whole thing. When do you think, yet again, I'm still waiting for the Federal Reserve to be called to account? You see, because imagine, for example, you are an employer and you hire someone who fails miserably at their job repeatedly. You're going to let them keep it? You see, here's the situation. If we had a real government, for which we do not, we could fire the Fed. We could end the Fed. But of course, that will never happen because you and I have no representation whatsoever. And look, the Fed, being that they have the U.S. military in their back pocket, they would point the military arsenal inward, right on U.S. citizens in a big way. So just understand what you're seeing here. A Federal Reserve that is being allowed to do whatever they want to. They are never, ever held to account. They are destroying people. They are wiping out U.S. small businesses, crushing an entire class of people, eliminating them by design. And this is a global phenomenon, people. And this is all central banks. And as you and I knew would happen, we're seeing so much cash being thrown at this war over there. And this is just scratching the surface. It will be in the trillions of dollars. Again, Bidenstein sending nearly another $1 trillion over there on top of the tens of billions that he's already sending, and there's more to come, a lot more to come. How do you feel about that? Is this something that you support? You support war? You realize you're paying for it? We're financing the war. And I want you to think about this. I want you to ponder these things as you go about your day. Anyway, people, look, so in summary here real quick, very straightforward. We had a market today, a rally across the board. We had energy and gas producers doing fantastic. We got consumer staples doing incredible as of late here. The laggards here, obviously tech, obviously financials. We'll see how this plays out moving forward. But look, this is why I always tell you, you got to be diversified. If one section of your portfolio is not doing too well, if you're spread out the right way, in different sectors of the market, it compensates. And over time, again, this is how you win in this market. You can't be all in on any one asset class. You got to be out there in a bunch of things here. Me, you know me. I'm in everything. I own a lot of stuff, real estate, obviously gold and silver, cryptocurrencies, classic cars, musical instruments, artwork. This is all part of my portfolio as well. Obviously, stocks, um, all kinds of things, and you gotta be spread out like that, and take advantage of everything that comes along your way. Anyway, I think you understand what's going on, and just listen for more bullshit about peak inflation. I mean, they are pushing this point. They are desperately trying to convince people that inflation is somehow peaking. And the fact of the matter is, we haven't seen anything yet. This 8.5% number that we got, way over the Fed's target of 2%, for which they are mandated to maintain price stability. That didn't work out too well. Keep your eyes on these things, people, and just stay on the right side. For the most part, you know what to do, and that is, again, taking the opposite side of this debt bubble. It's out of control. It's going to get a lot bigger, much bigger, very rapidly. And then, of course, comes boom, the grand finale, the freaking grand finale, and that's going to be a moment that they're going to talk about for hundreds, maybe even thousands of years after you and I are long gone off this planet. All right, look, I'm out of here. Love all of you. Please share the video. Please comment. Let me know. What do you think? Being that the Federal Reserve has failed miserably, they've really failed miserably, deliberately, let's put it that, they deliberately inflated beyond our wildest dreams, and we haven't seen anything yet. And being that the Fed is mandated, they have a mandate to maintain price stability, do you think maybe now we can get rid of the Fed? Or do you think our loving, caring, they care so much about all of us. I'm talking about our retarded, I'm going to use the word, because they don't resent, no, they're criminals, okay? We have no representation here. All these members of Congress, they represent the corporate agenda. You all know that. They're all millionaires, multi-millionaires, and you think they care about you, really? No. They care about their families. They care about the kickbacks they're getting. That's all this is. It's corruption to the highest order, and that's how every empire has fallen since the beginning of time, and it takes the people down with it. I'm out of here. See you in the morning.